This is episode 338 of Gold Squadron Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Will the Shoveler Hegwood. And today, I'm joined by Marcel, the Bears still suck, Manzano.
They're winning, but they'll find a way to lose.
Ryan, never too late to break bad, Staniszewski.
Yeah, there's this one show called Breaking Bad. I've never seen anything, never seen a single episode, and that has now been broken as I'm in the beginning of season 2. Me and my wife started watching it. Netflix, good times.
Alright, so no spoilers. No spoilers. Gotcha.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Spoiler free. Cast.
Yeah, I've avoided Breaking Bad spoilers. Not on purpose, just like I don't have a lot of friends that watch Breaking Bad and then we'll talk about it. I'm pretty sure they've watched it. They just haven't
they talked about
it's not like
10
Game of
years
Thrones
ago.
level where they're like, hey, this thing happened, right? So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's been out for a while, so no worries there. We also have James Scaredy Company, Ritter.
Yeah, we played some Lethal Company over the past week. Definitely recommend for a spooky time. And I laughed so hard I made myself sick.
You
so
hurt yourself, huh? Laughing.
yeah, I did hurt myself laughing.
So I saw a clip on Twitter that made me laugh harder than I've had in a while. I've never played the game, but I watched someone like drop a ladder on someone and made a hilarious bonk noise, and the guy died. It was really funny. I was like, "Is this the normal shenanigans of this game?" And apparently, that's a yes.
Yeah, the normal shenanigans is just watching how your teammates perish and then laughing at them. There's like a death chat, like a lobby for people who've already died, and you get to watch and listen to. You get to watch it and listen to people just like rummage around in the dark, hoping that their friends are nearby. But you're all just watching them in the afterlife.
It's on like it sounds like a similar one of my favorite video game memories. It sounds on a similar level of like. For people who recall the game Left 4 Dead, there was an enemy called the Tank, and they're big, bulky, like basically like a zombie Hulk, put it that way. And it showed up, and like most of us are just running towards the safe house in Left 4 Dead. And I'm already down, and I'm watching my friend just limping away with 1 health, just trying to get into the safe house. He's almost there. The Tank slams down and sends a trash can soaring across the like the room and just cleans this guy off the face of the earth. It went so hard. The trash can went so hard, hit him, and I was dying laughing for like because just this flying trash can hit my friend and knocked him out.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, the laughter gets rid of the scary tension of being alone in the dark with a dead walkie-talkie just hold.
Yeah,
flashlight's got 30 seconds of battery, and your walkie-talkie's out, and you just don't know how to get back to the ship. It's
it oddly sounds like way more fun to already be dead watching someone else go through stuff than to be the last person.
Watching yourself fall into a chasm and then watching 3 other people fall into the same chasm is pretty funny.
You're like trying to yell through the ether. Don't go down that hallway. There's monsters.
Watch out for the hole.
So pretty fun. I don't know how much more we'll play of it, but it's pretty fun. I love with 4 players, very enjoyable. Anyways, before we get to our main topic, the French World Open qualifier, I gotta talk about the most important people to GSP, and that's our Patreons. That's what makes the whole thing happen. They get access to Discord or to Patreon-only channels in our Discord, and Dion just posted shareable art from our past projects. So to find out more, patreon.com/goldsquadron. But let's pull up some French World Open qualifier stats here. Let me switch my screen here. There we go. Want to show off the beautiful arrangement of nations competing in this. But Longshanks doesn't do it for us. So we're going to quickly move out of there. But big congratulations to all these players that had made cut. They even have a bracket on challenge. That's why they don't have the finals in Longshanks if you had investigated it yourself. But yeah, very exciting there. Best place though is going to be List Fortress. We love that List Fortress. So let's take a look at the winner here. Le Chancellor pulls off the victory, comes in with a Republic squad.
No.
That's
cut.
Oh,
He's top.
Thank you.
He stopped Swiss. He stopped
Swiss.
Yeah.
I was like, why is their cut only 8? That doesn't make any sense. Fooled again. Neil, I was like, that's not what the bracket said. Niels Voss actually comes in. Big congratulations. Takes the win over Sith Taker Tim. A Republic on Republic matchup in the finals here. James, you want to start with the winning list here? Niels Voss.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be just the normal Anakin, Padme, and 3 ARC list. I don't see anything in there out of the ordinary. Because the only ship in there that's not a standardized loadout is Padme, and it's just rocking the passive marksman proton torpedoes. A known quantity of a list, and still a deadly one.
Yeah, I mean, that Padme has been the silver bullet, people think, against bombers, Han, other Republic squads as well. So no surprise to see it in the top spot there.
Yeah.
Ryan, what about
it does well into a lot of different lists.
It does.
It doesn't have a lot of weaknesses.
The weakness is flying Anakin well, and Padme too. They're not easy ships to fly. Also, 3 medium bases at the same time. Also not easy to fly.
Also 3 medium bases, yeah.
So there's a learning
3 medium
curve.
bases, all at different initiative. Have fun.
All at different initiatives.
And Padme who wants to go 3 speed moves. Have fun.
Yeah. It's not a throwdown and win a tournament kind of list. You do got to get some practice reps in.
Yeah. It is not a net like, it's like, I heard that's good. Let me just take that to the next event. You definitely should be practicing this for, I would probably say, at least 5 games to get an understanding of what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'd hope everyone practices at least 5 games with all their lists before they take it to an event.
Well, I mean, like some lists you can just kind of like 5x, like.
Oh, so you think there's less skill in using 5x, eh?
Yes. I would say objectively, yes. I think the skill ceiling is higher, but the skill floor is also I always say it the wrong way around, but it's a lot easier. I would say personally, it's a lot easier to fly 5x or 4x and plus whatever, 3x plus whatever, than 3 arcs, Naboo, and an Ada. Right. But I think your totals capped out. I think it's higher with the
as if suddenly
the 5x.
Millions of Resistance players cried out in terror and then were suddenly angry at James.
That's fine. I talked about it at length in one of my store champs that we had last weekend, and or 2 weekends ago, and they were like, "Yeah, it's not super hard to fly, but it's there's a lot of triggers. That's the thing."
Right. Yeah, between all of the abilities plus all your upgrades that are
all
on
the
there.
mechs. Yeah.
What astromechs on who? Speaking of weird astromechs places, we're gonna take a look at Sith Taker Tim's here. Pretty much the same thing. Oddball Jag Wolf, as you do. The standard loadouts. This one brings Padme with passive sensors, plasma, and with those extra 6 points, puts them into R2-D2 on Padme. R2-D2 is deplete for shield, repair a damage card, or pick up a device, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
just like it is on the Ada Anakin. But Sith
Yep.
Taker Tim here brought Luminara. I know one of James's favorites here with Patience
Big fan.
R4 P17. You should try that P17. And calibrated laser targeting. So this is still a CLT Jedi, but the combination of Luminara's ability. So when you attack someone at range 2 of Luminara, she can spend her force to change one of your hits into a eyeball, or I think it's a crit to hit too, right? You can take out crits out of the pool.
Yeah, you can, but it's you modify it before your opponent, so there's not a lot of chances to do it. But yeah,
Right. It would have to be like a naturally rolled crit. Your opponent doesn't have any mods. It's like a 1 agility crate carrier, right? You start getting real desperate to try to hold on to that crate. Maybe you would reduce the
Yeah.
crit to hit. But the big thing here is, though, that you're generating more eyeballs for Padme. And it works very good for these 1 agility ships, where you just prevent their modification. It really just works as like, you're almost, it's the equivalent of throwing an evade, or really just throwing a reinforce to one of these ships, because they get to essentially add an evade onto whatever they rolled. You guys are looking like you're going crazy. So
yeah, it's like it's also like just like canceling one of their dice.
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes, yeah.
Which to me, that's the equivalent of a reinforce. So it becomes pretty powerful, especially when your opponent's relying on focus tokens to convert a lot of eyeballs, things like that, where they have very limited mods. The Luminara. Plus, I mean, turns out you're an I4 Jedi. With all the fixins of getting range 1 4 dice attacks, double reposition, double force, action. With R4 P17, you're doing actions while you K-turn as well, so you can get that focus before you fire, like a calibrated laser targeting on a K-turn. So pretty interesting that Luminara, James, makes the top table here.
Yeah.
I think it is interesting that I mean, the big thing with Luminara is that the enemy ship shooting at your friend can't have him in bullseye. And you would think with a lot of medium bases that the bullseyes actually become kind of easy. But James, in your experience using Luminara in a triple arc list, does that mess with things like whether it's forcing people to look at you more, meaning they're more likely to joust you, meaning that's what you want? Or is it that maybe it's not easy to get a combination of guns to all get bullseye, so then it's like split fire or deal with Padme Lumi combination with some of your ships, but not all of them?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times I end up having to, and I think to, I guess, start like back where you're saying, it does kind of force your opponent into the joust, which is exactly what you want. You want them to be shooting all of their ships against all of your ships, because you'll win that fight every time, especially with like the three die attacks from Oddball Jag Wolf and Padme's plasma torpedo has a pretty good chance of just taking something off the board, period. And Luminara's may get a CLT, probably not on that first engage. And Luminara also providing a little bit of just extra protection, where maybe one of their enemy ships has bullseye on the arc that they want to kill that turn, but the rest of them don't. And if they're in Padme's arc and you Luminara one of their hits with focus, and they already had another focus in the pool, then you've essentially just killed that die. So it really can take a lot, like a big hit down to nothing, very quickly.
Yeah, pretty powerful there. To get a different Jedi, one we're very familiar with here at GSP because James runs it all the time, but one probably not seen very often. We got another Republic list still to go. Sergio Sanchez brings a 6-ship squad. Marcel, you want to take a look at this 6-ship Sergio Sanchez squad?
Looking for the buttons. I got like 15 screens open. So it's Sergio Sanchez. Well, first of all, this is the French World Open. We've got Netherlands, what is it? Netherlands, England, and Spain.
Mm-hmm.
So, way to go there, France. Let's see. So Sergio Sanchez. Wait,
Sure,
is
Corin's
this
up next,
right?
but
Huh?
yeah, Sergio.
Oh yeah, Corin.
Sergio Sanchez.
No, I just yeah. I mean, it's a republic kind of world, I guess. It's another republic. It is Anakin Skywalker with well, it's the Siege of Coruscant. Skywalker, Oddball, Wolf. The difference is there is no Jag, and instead you get Contrail, Kickback, and Slider. So he went for initiative 6, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4. So he went with the high initiative options as well, and just throwing an extra ship on there. So it's a 6-ship list. Yeah, so it's a 6-ship list, and it's 4 out of those 6 ships are I5 or higher, and Wolf and Slider are both kind of just cleaning up. However, he did go with dedicated on Slider. I think that's interesting. But with 6 ships, I usually see Lone Wolf, but with 6 ships, there's less opportunity for Lone Wolf. Also, you have more ships that have more than 1 agility, and therefore you have more opportunities to use the dedicated. So that makes sense as well. Getting that dedicated working for Kickback Contrail.
You also have more dedicated. You have 4 dedicateds in there, or 4.
The dedicated?
Not dedicated. I'm sorry. Born for this.
Born for this, yeah. I was trying to find the dedicated. So I'm like, I don't see it dedicated.
Yeah, you have 4 born for this, which can only affect focus results. So maybe that extra dedicated in there.
Isn't Click or that Contrail is customizable? It's got shield upgrade.
Contrail.
Oh, it is customizable. I'm sorry.
It's got a shield upgrade, so you could go a dedicated Contrail, but I don't know if you want to take a strain on your Contrail.
Well, you can't because there's 4 points for the dedicated or for the born for this. The sock.
That makes sense.
What are they?
It is
V-wings.
interesting that the Contrail taking Shield, Besh, and R4P Astromech. I like the R4P.
You usually go for.
Everybody likes the R4P, but no bombs. Not a single bomb.
Well, there's a lot of friendly fire here.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's the trick, huh?
Yeah, that shield upgrade making
Possibility.
Contrail pretty tanky.
Yeah, between that and the Born for This and dedicated, there's Contrail can't stay alive, and I've always been a fan of Kickback. Actually, I've always been a fan of Kickback and Tucker, the Barrage Rocket guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just Republic's got so many things to choose from. Them by the time you're looking at Tucker, you're like, in
I think you're
12 out of
saying Axel or whatever. Axe.
the Barrage Rocket guy, yeah.
The
Barrage Rocket.
I gotcha.
Yeah. But
so
by the time you get to him, you already went through like 10 good ships.
Yeah, it takes a while to get to the torrents there. So we have 3 different lists. I wouldn't say very different, but this third one doesn't have a Padme. Goes 6 ship instead. Doesn't have the third arc. So really showing the amount of variety you can get out of the Republic.
Yeah, the common denominator being Oddball Wolf.
Yeah, those arcs.
Yeah, Oddball Wolf being the main thing. Now, what's you guys' opinion about Wolf versus Jag in a situation where you don't have all 3?
I like Wolf over Jag, personally. I think you start with Oddball, for sure, and then I like Wolf over Jag, because that's what I tried with Jag over Wolf, but I feel like it just didn't have like it just didn't have the punch that I needed. Also, the
I think for
initiative
me,
3.
I think it is probably still Wolf. But I think the bigger question is it SOC Wolf or is it custom Wolf? And outside of the triple arc, there are very few situations where I think I actually would take SOC Wolf versus the custom Wolf. Custom Wolf can still get veteran tail gunner, and then add R4P, which SOC Wolf doesn't have, and then would also get expert handling, which can offer some early game barrel roll for positioning. Um, Although I think in these 6 ship variations, the compounding effect of having Born for this probably trumps some of that stuff you gain in the custom version. I think when you're in like a 5 ship or less version of Republic and you're not taking the triple arc, I think custom Wolf is where that fits. But the 6 ship is where you get that compounding Born for this coverage when you have uh, Oddball and Wolf providing focus tokens for multiple ships on your list. And then in a lot of these 6 ship variations, they're also going for kickback. So who has the evade? So it's a lot of good defensive coverage, which is why I think the SOC Wolf does work in the 6 ship variations we're seeing right here.
Yeah, because I think the customizable Wolf, the only real advantage that you get is the more maneuverability with R4P and expert handling. Whereas with but losing Born for this, and also like Wolfpack, like if Oddball takes that lock or gives the lock to himself and doesn't need it, then Wolf still can use it.
I think I think that's my my deciding factor between Wolf and Jag is how many other SOCs do you have? If it's just Oddball and then like one other arc, yeah, I would probably just take Jag just so they can work together, right? But Wolf can use Kickback or Oddball's lock in this particular list.
And
So
Kickback, I forgot about Kickback too. Yeah.
yeah, so if Kickback tries to get that early Diamond Boron off, you could potentially use your lock or use that lock if it's not needed. It kind of turns Kickback into like a spotter as well. Potentially. Most people just use them as a evade battery, which I hate. That's so boring. Especially like protecting like a 10 health oddball, like one evade token for him. I guess it could be the difference, but I would rather see that Kickback shooting Diamond Boron missiles in the first engagement instead of trying to help out with focus tokens and stuff. I mean, after that, yeah, you evade when you barrel roll, you focus when you bump, things like that to help out. But I don't know. I think Wolfpack might be underrated on the customizable Wolf, being able to steal those locks from other people. Can you steal? You can't steal Anakin's because it's Born for this people, isn't it? It's Plo and Born for this.
Yeah, Plo and Born for this.
Okay. Still, I mean, it comes down to playstyle. If you could deal with the I3, if you prefer the I3 blocker in Jag over Wolf, could be an option. Well, let's stop talking about Republic for one list here.
Just 1 second. Come on.
Just 1 second. We're gonna go into I can't pronounce Corton's last name. Corton Rue?
I thought it was Rue.
I think it's Rue. Anyways, Corton got into the top 4 with a resistance list. Who hasn't read the list? Is it Ryan?
Yeah, that's me. We have Elo, Swarm Tactics Heroic Jammy Beam, Zori, her normal loadout of R4 Wartime Plasma Dorsal, Hemin with the Ferrosphere Paint R68 Heroic, Vanessa Doza with Barrage Rockets Marksmanship, and Jessica Pava with M9G8 Baffle. So just a little, I think the only wrinkle is, seeing Vanessa kind of back hanging out. I think some of the more things attempted outside of like Lulo and Kaz in that 5th spot has been Carcoon we've seen a little bit of. We've seen less of Vanessa since more people have tried out Lulo. They kind of occupy a similar space in what they want to do in the list. One's just a little more durable, one's just a little faster. But I think what I noticed a little while back, and I think more people are catching on, it's a really neat trick for Jess to shoot at I5. Swarm Tactics LO is, if once we maybe look into the pattern analyzer for this event, or if you just look at pattern analyzer in general and go to their compositions of resistance lists, the resistance list and LO specifically, who when he's equipped with Swarm Tactics is very highly successful, which is not something I'm used to, right? In my mind, a lot of times when I see Swarm Tactics, it's some like Rube Goldberg machine of getting like 4 of my ships are now I6, ha 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 ha, right? Like, I don't care about that. That normally means you're in a jousting block and like you can easily be maneuvered around or pressured with objectives elsewhere, right? But just the simple like Jess wants a friend, be next to her, right? Zori commonly is there too, but the weird thing with Zori I found moving around Jess is Jess moves first and she's very like tethered in a way if she wants to be the only person to give Zori like that focus and then Zori to do a move. So Jess really can't do like 3 banks or 4 straights sometimes where Zori might not be able to be in range 1 after Jess does that move. So, and one of the advantages of having these T70s is their speed, their capability to get around the board well.
At 3 straight blue.
Yeah, right. So, a lot of times it is helpful for Elo to be kind of around Zori. So I think in this instance, right, we're seeing people look at like a general hammer of 3 ships being here's Jess, here's Zori, and Elo, right? While the other 2 ships are either doing their own thing, you know, Temin's going fast flanking stuff, Vanessa, Lulo, Kaz are doing other things, right? Potentially flanking, potentially joining the main block, depending on what's more threatening, someone counter flanking you, or you adding more to the joust block. But Elo providing Swarm Tactics is a very nice thing to where, oh, Zori's going to shoot the plasma, rip some shields off. Oh, Elo's going to shoot. Oh, Jess is going to shoot. Like, some's really hurt after that. Really hurt. So, the one thing I do think that for people who are looking at Swarm Tactics on Elo, I mean, yes, I know resistance players like Heroic. Heroic can help T70 specifically, just maybe a little bit longer, mitigate some of those double blanks. Because there's only 2 dice, more likely to get 2 blanks on 2 dice than 3 dice. But I think when you put Elo next to Jess, you are risking the super easy, oh, I'm not going to shoot Jess, because Jess is more defensive, and the friend next to her is nowhere near as defensive, and she's already shooting I5, so I'm not going to initiative kill her. So let's kill the thing that can put her to I5 and much easier to kill ship. So everyone's just going to shoot at Elo. I think it's worth considering that last 3 points instead of Heroic Jamming Beam to also be Ferrosphere Paint, so that anyone that wants to lock and like take out Jess's friend Elo, or the enabler of Zori's double actions most of the time Elo, put paint on Elo with Swarm Tactics with the 3 points. I've seen people do Predator. Predator can do well too, but again, that just makes Elo a super easy target. Like, you want to kill Elo, stop the Jess being I5, and is a regular T70 defensively. Ferrosphere won't stop everything, but it can help make things really annoyed that they decide to lock you if they wanted to.
It's true. Hands out that stress if you're not in bullseye. It's pretty good. Marcel, you need to be putting Swarm Tactics on your Elo. Get that I1
Most
ship.
definitely not.
Okay, fair.
Well, actually, no. Actually, you're making a little bit of sense. Get that I1 to pull the token at I5.
Yeah,
But
have him shoot first.
Totally on that
Jam.
tangent now. I don't think we even talked about it to the masses. Marcel is speaking to the I1 Y-Wing chorus. Steal tokens from enemy ships at range 0 to 1 when they engage.
When the Y-Wing engages, yeah.
So if you swarm up, they are now engaging higher.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to keep Elo close to the Y-Wing. The Y-Wing runs a little bit slow, but it'd be fun. So that's a fun thing.
Could be interesting to look at. I'm
Easy answer. Don't bring chorus. Ha!
Whoa. 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 Okay. All right.
Wrong answer.
Yeah, pretty good though. We still have pretty good list. We still have the usual suspects here: Snap, Elo, and Jess. But yeah, what flavor of those other two 4-pointers do you want? So let's go into Le Chancellor. Also gets into the top cut when undefeated in Swiss. As a note, it's a very good job there. They bring a Republic list. Could you imagine? With Anakin Skywalker, Kickback, Oddball, Wolf, all in their SOC variations. This one brings Click and Slider to fill out the rest of the list. Slider with Dedicated and Click with R3, Besh, and Ion Bombs. Click blocks his friends, and once per turn can deny a range bonus. So whether they're shooting first turn at a range 3 target or if they're defending at range 1, either way, Click can spend their single charge around to stop that extra die. Another 6-ship variant here basically swaps out Contrail for Click from the other version we were taking a look at. I think that's the only difference, really, right?
Yeah, Contrail for Click, and yeah, that's the only thing. Also, this one brings bombs, so instead of a shield upgrade, you brought bombs.
By Ion Bombs. Which is interesting because, I mean, most of the SOCs, they just want to focus anyways, so they're not, if they accidentally get ionized, not a big deal. They got rear arcs and stuff.
Oops,
It'll
all
be okay.
focuses.
Yeah, they're looking for that focus anyways, so they don't really care. So an interesting, another variant of the 6-ship Republic. We got a couple more top 8s we'll go through here. Marcel, why don't you pronounce this next one here? Maybe? Do you know how? No, he doesn't know how.
Marcel, no, he's still
He's
muted.
joking. He's joking right now.
I unmuted the ninja instead of.
No.
Is it the Juanjo one?
Yes.
It looks like it says Juanjo Gracia Roche.
Roche. Gotcha.
Or Roque. Because I do know somebody who is not Spanish that is Roque. But anyway, it looks like the whole top 8 is nothing but Resistance and
Resistance and Republic. They sure love that over there.
There is like nothing is. There's nothing but those two in the entire top 8.
That's true. So how is this so different?
So with Han Ho, we got Elo at sea. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Big surprise there. Zori, correct call once again. With Zori, Lulo, Jespava, Temin, and Elo. Is it the exact same list as the one right above?
No, it's got Lulo.
It doesn't have Vanessa. So instead of Vanessa, it has Lulo. So that's the big difference. Also, they once again went with the Zori is different now once again. So their Zori has plasma torpedoes and mag pulse warhead instead of the R4 astromech and dorsal turret. I think the R4 is kind of required with Zori's ability. But anyway, I think he went just kind of double down on that that initial engagement if he's going against somebody that needs the mag pulse. Other than that, there's really not a lot of reason not to bring R4 when his ability stresses them and their blue maneuvers are so limited. And Lulo over Vanessa. Vanessa has barrage rockets out of the front and barrage rockets out of the back. And 7 health, where Lulo has marksmanship, ferrosphere, paint. Usually I would prefer Predator and shield upgrade. I don't know. I think that's kind of a toss up. I mean, you go I5 over I4,
I would
so
have
that's
to
another
imagine
plus.
that you're getting the reroll from M9G8 then. That's who you give
Yeah, if he's
the
got no
locked in.
predator, he's probably got the reroll. So he's got a reroll marksmanship first rear pain shield upgrade. Um, I don't know. It's a tough call, and it looks like they both. And one of them went to top 4, the other one went top 8, and I don't know what's the. I like the R4 over the Magpulse, and currently I like another beef over Lulo, just because Lulo can. I mean, if you have a Vader out there or something like that, or a Han, they're just gonna chew Lulo apart. They're gonna chew Lulo up. So Lulo's good if you've got like Chewbacca or something, where you get some, you get a little bit of mileage out of Lulo dying. But I think this makes sense. It's a really good list. I think who is it? Quarantine's list is more consistent, and I think the results show that.
Yeah, I also. It's very strange to me not to take a dorsal turret on a Y-wing. You're just limiting yourself. But this one also has 4 shots at I5 as well. So you really start initiative killing ships. Advantages and disadvantages, I guess. Let's see. We got Benjamin Ponroy flying another Republic list. Gets in with the top 8 here. Still brings Anakin, Kickback, Oddball, Wolf, Click, and Slider. Using the same click upgrades there, R3, Besh, and Ion Bombs as Le Chancellor did. So we got one last one here. We'll see what this variation is. Fitzgerald Fernando brings a resistance squad. This hello with swarm tactics is really hot over there in the European tournaments. Another instance of Swarm Tactics Cello, M9G8 Jess, a R6D8 Snap, but this one chooses, again, Veneza Doza with those Barrage Rockets, and Zori Bliss with Wartime, Plasma, and Mag Pulse. So we're getting a couple ticks of instances of both Zori and Vanessa in a single list. Very exciting to see. I do want to just touch on the next two, though, as we're only talking about Resistance and Republic. Very two powerful squads.
Can I say, instead of Marson, do Tube
You want Tube
instead of Marson?
You want Squad Air, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I want Squad Air.
That'll be a quick one.
Yeah.
No,
no, he actually brought an interesting list.
Send it to me and I'll pull it up. Is it in
No, you got to go to. It might be in the.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, I got it here.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, break it down for us. What are we looking at here?
Got Wreck with Rear Armature Renew with Minister Tua, Darth Vader crew, Agile Gunner, Lone Wolf, and Dauntless. We have Tomax, Jonas, and Reimer, all with Barrage Salvo. 2 instances of Bomblet and 1 of Ion Bombs. And Deathfire, but this is not regular this is regular Deathfire, not what I would consider regular Deathfire nowadays. With the launching Deathfire, this is customizable with proximity mines and delayed fuses.
Yeah, I've seen this a couple times. The customizable Deathfire. Why do you think that's more widely chosen over the standard loadout Deathfire, who can launch a proton bomb?
I would say this the launching the proton bomb is more widely taken, personally,
Really?
that I've seen.
Not lately,
Yeah.
in my experience. Well, I think that might
Really?
be a U.S.
I was
versus
gonna say,
European thing.
I feel like I've seen this only twice ever.
Really?
The custom one.
Okay. Well, we'll say
Uh,
that it's coming up more and more that people prefer
Yeah.
this loadout to the other one.
I mean, I'll have to keep an eye out for it, but it's pretty interesting. The regular Deathfire ability of dropping or launching a device before you are destroyed is pretty spicy.
Yeah. I mean, now you can't launch. I hope they're not launching those proxy mines, but the ability to like 5K into a block, like when you're at like 1 or 2 health, and then like if you're destroyed, you can just drop the proxy mine right onto something. I guess has value.
Yeah, because I think we went through this with something else where just because it says launch doesn't mean you can actually launch it. You can only launch it if you have a card that says you may launch this thing.
Yeah, you have to be given a template to launch or drop.
Right, that's the template is the deciding.
You can't just
key there.
assume that it's. The only one
With
I
a
can
one
think
straight.
of is the bomblet, or no, bombardment drones. Bombardment drones do say instead of, or launch it instead of drop using the same template. So while it doesn't call out what template you need, it does require you to use the same template you'd use to drop it. But no other people who ask about launching allow it.
Yeah.
Long
That is
tangent
interesting.
to say that this Deathfire, because see, normally I
This
see this
Deathfire.
Deathfire with a bunch of Ruthless carriers, so that way they could they use it almost like a Tina, right? They just fly
Yeah.
in, and then if the
Yeah.
enemy won't destroy it, they'll just do it themselves.
Yeah, a Tina with a surprise proxy mine.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, that is interesting. I just wanted to call this one out just because it, at first glance, it looked very not boring, but like the same Rack 4 bombers.
Mm-hmm.
But with that Tua instead of
Death
Troopers,
which is weird because it almost feels like Rear Admiral Chernow is just by himself out there then, trying to snipe
with
like
that
range
lone wolf
threes.
too. Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
interesting.
I feel like with all those bombers around, just bring Ruthless. Like
Yeah.
you don't care about your defense, and you don't like. I don't want to position Rack in a way to have Lone Wolf. Spend 2 points elsewhere.
I mean,
take Ruthless, hurt your own guys, and do more damage. Easy.
I hear what you're saying. I hear all of those things, but the amount of just blank focus hits that we've seen from racks lately on the Wednesdays has been pretty sad.
Burn it all to the ground.
I mean, I agree. Like normally, there'll be like that 4-pointer would be like another person with Ruthless, like a countdown or something. To
Volt.
just use a Volt would work as well with Ruthless
Shield,
and
Ruthless,
Shield.
Volt.
Oh yeah, wow.
But I will say that as someone who's been keeping an eye on Empire lists, like this archetype is popping up more and more. I think people are
keep
still
an eye out
waffling
for it.
on Jonas. I don't think he's worth the points, but he can.
Jonas. This was a stat shared to me by someone who's been keeping track of some of the differences when you bring squad compositions and when you bring this 4 3-pointer versus this 4 3-pointer. These are the most interchangeable point slots in the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he found that when you have Tomex and Deathfire in a list, or Reimer, right, one of those bombers when they existed in Empire list, as soon as you add Captain Jonas to a list with those ships, on average it drops their percentile by 10%, which means basically you're going from say you were a ship that was 60th percentile. Percentile in this context means if you're a 60th percentile ship, say there's a 100-person Swiss, that means that list composition is on average going to get you 40th place, right? 60 percentile, 40 more to go, 40th place. It's kind of like take 100, subtract your percentile. That's around where that list composition will be. As soon as you put Jonas in there, you're going to drop about 10 spots in rankings, which is actually pretty noticeable when it could be the difference between being in an exit, like a completely different bracket of players that have a better, like one better record than you are, which could mean the difference between cut and no cut.
Yeah, or yeah, exactly. Cut or no cut. That's a big difference of, because like when we're talking like 100 players, it's kind of hard to imagine cutting that down into like a 16 or 32 person event. But that's the difference between like one loss, right? Missing
Yeah,
cut.
could definitely be. Yeah, I think Jonas is a trap right now.
Wow,
Don't use
hot,
Jonas.
hot takes. I mean, maybe not hot takes, but maybe calculated takes over here.
If you're already, I mean, people aren't, and you know what? I don't know. How much of Europe has gotten the YT-24 and TIE bomber packs? Because did we see any of the standard loadout ones? Is there a chance they actually don't have the product yet?
There are some in there.
Okay.
I
was gonna say, like, I think standard Telmax is better, and we know standard Deathfire is making waves and doing well. There's a standard Rhymer, but he's 4 points and not 3, so we take the custom Rhymer.
Right.
If you're only taking one barrage rocket ship that wants to have that extra mod from Jonas, like, then you're just putting yourself into, like, I'm gonna make a barrage box like jousting block, which has not netted good results from what we've seen.
Right. I mean, I had to agree. As someone who's an Empire main lately, I hate paying 4 points for Jonas. But
I think every time you see him, you get a little bit sad and complain about
I
it.
hate paying 4 points for a TIE bomber, period.
Yeah, like, the chassis just doesn't support that as much. Man, if they had barrel linked focus, oof.
They have barrel lock. Come on.
Well,
yeah, just be Telmax.
Lock base munitions.
Barrel roll, use action, get focus, link to target lock.
Take non-barrage Rhymer. Be a man.
Be a man. All right.
There have been, you know what? There have been people trying out that whole feedback ping cluster missile Rhymer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm with the standardized Deathfire.
Yeah, with the launch fire. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in on that. That's super cool.
That's fun. Get some locks out there.
Get some locks.
That's pretty good. Is there another list you guys are looking at? One worth mentioning?
I do think it's worth noting the Rebel list that we're seeing near the top, because they're not the traditional 4-ship ones.
That are very, very close to themselves.
Yeah, they're pretty similar to each other. They might have brought the exact same thing, and I think a few people. These might be some of those people, but I know I've heard Ali Pocknell has been trying out this variation, but it's Han, your normal Bistan Han, trick shot or chopper, engine upgrade, whatever. The base guts, percent co-pilot Bistan Han. Luke, boy Luke, the two things very familiar with. After that, they're trying out and opting for Hera A-Wing with Swarm Tactics and Bodica with 2 different loadouts. I mean, the main one we see Bodica is Beskar Reinforced Plating, Mando Optics, Predator. We did have someone opt for Shield Upgrade Clan Training. I mean, I'm foreseeing the idea is Hera runs around next to Bodica, Swarm Tacticsing Bodica, and just taking evade. So do you want to shoot at the evade-focused Bodica, or do you want to shoot at the Hera who's next to Bodica, and Bodica's going to shoot you back anyway, after likely Bodica got to shoot first at I6, and then doesn't have to take less dice from the deplete because her ability hadn't triggered until later in the round when you decide to shoot someone else. So, in the normal version of this list, we see in the 4-ship Fen Rao in the Fang, and then Kyo in the A-Wing, which I think that one probably has a little bit better objective play, because Kyo's kind of your designated go do objective things, go pick up the box, go press the button. Sometimes Fen presses a button or Han presses a button, more likely Fen if anyone, or Luke. Luke's got passive mods. But this one seems like you're basically providing 3 ships. It's just one of them pseudo split into 2, because there's target priority issues with that Bodica provides. And Hera gets to bring a Fang that gets to shoot at I6, not position at I6. So there's give and take here and there why that where there's good parts and bad parts to the list. But I've seen or heard about it a couple times in the general European player group, and it's worth noting that it made top 16. In 2 people made it top 16. Didn't get past the fleet of 16 though, but it is
the Resistance
becoming.
Republic fleet.
Now, if you are prepping for Worlds, you should probably have played against this a couple of times to get familiar with this, because there are some good European players that are using this list that may show up to Worlds. So to broaden your experience, you should try playing against it and see what is the correct target to go for. Do you weather the storm from Bodica? Do you try and find a way to position yourself to where Bodica is mitigated, so you're getting shots from Bodica at I6, or sorry, at range 3, because Bodica only gets to position at I4 to move around her, right? Or it depends on how the list is flown. I don't know if there's any stream games that had this Rebel list in it that we could watch, but it might be worth looking into. See how it's been flown. I wouldn't doubt. I mean, I assume Marcel and Will could tell me if this is a Rebel list they've seen in XTC.
Not right now. We did submit those XTC for the group stage months ago, so this might be a new. I've seen the Swarm Tactics Bodica at first, but I thought people mostly went away from it for the time being. But to your point, though, we were talking about 6-ship squads, and this basically shoots 5 3-dice attacks and 1 2-dice attack.
Yeah, as long as whatever Bodica triggers off of isn't first player at I6.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of those 6-ship squads are not shooting 3-die guns for all their shots.
Heavily modified 3 and 4-dice guns, yeah.
I thought the clan training was out of place at first, but rolling up with a lock, it would be pretty spicy.
To engage at I6 and get the focus token.
And then get the focus token.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty spicy.
So
you get the shield upgrade too. Another reason to discourage shots into Bodica. Excuse me.
Yeah, and it's just like a better version of the what are they called?
Mando Octaves.
No, the Beskar plating.
Oh, but yeah, it's true. Much more
because
guaranteed.
It's
with the
always gonna block a damage.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, very cool. And we also saw a FO make it in as well with Blackout Lahuse, Malorus Gaelic, and Wilo.
Yeah, interesting
we also saw
to see the Blackout as the 5-pointer in that squad. The other 5-pointer, rather.
Yeah.
But obviously going for an I5 squad with Blackout Lahuse, Malorus Gaelic, and Kylo.
Yeah, Blackout with no sensitive controls. Boo. We also saw a Django Zam Dirge. So
Fonlon again gets into squeezes into the top 16 there.
Squeezes in there.
Oh yeah.
I guess Fon Longlon won a qualifier in the past. This is probably him trying out something. Make sure it's not a list he's testing out pre-Worlds.
Mm-hmm. Still very scary. I think that the longer the fire sprays go out of fashion, the more nobody has been practicing against them. So if you've been practicing against arcs and Han and bombers and whatnot, Resistance 5 ships, and all of a sudden you have to deal with fire sprays again, you might not have the reps to take advantage of what your list can do.
Yeah, 2 fire sprays with bombs. Yeah.
Proton bombs, real bombs. Yeah, pretty awesome to see. Is there what's our top scum? I think we've talked about every faction more or less, other than Scum. Who's the brave soul?
Scum.
I'll scroll down quite a ways. 33.
33. Check.
Yep.
Wow, that is a not expected. There's a 3-ship list with Boba Fett Fire Spray, Maul Gauntlet, and Lima Kai Highway.
Heck yeah.
2 9-point ships? No.
Yeah.
An 8 and a
Nope.
9. Maul is the 9-pointer,
9.
not Boba for some
Yeah.
reason. Maul is more expensive than Boba. This list looks
Okay.
terrifying.
Yeah. Lima brought no missile either. Just brought ion cannon turret.
I can turret seismic charges. Just to ruin Han's day, I'm pretty sure. Just go around blowing up obstacles.
What is my purpose? To make Han sad.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Well, you also have like Maul, who is not like the most nimble of gauntlets. So
No.
get
Especially
clear some room for
if
him.
he's doing coordinates.
I can't coordinate in this squad. Everybody's I5.
Oh really? Just like not even. You're right. Yeah.
No, taking double calculate and then Lando crew to have a reroll.
Land.
So you get
crew.
rerolls and force, and an extra calculate, and you get Night Brother tokens as well. You get your evade and focus off of Night Brother.
That is interesting. All right, that's an interesting
That's
Maul
terrifying.
build though.
I mean, I don't know if I want to face that.
No, I hated
Just trying
facing
to-
your
just-
Maul.
Just trying to break through force. Well, no, Boba's got perceptive actually. Interesting. But yeah, rerolls and tokens for days on both those chunky ships.
Dead Man Boba, by the way.
Well, he likes to be in range 1.
Ugh.
That's terrifying. Still did pretty good. What, got a couple wins?
Yeah.
It's not too bad. What was the overall? What was the player count?
50.
About 50. Okay. So not great. Not in the upper half, unfortunately.
Yeah, but still getting 2 wins, 2 and 3.
Hey, win's a win. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Cool. Well, big congratulations to Niels Voss. Takes it again. Just continuing Republic supremacy. But let's. Any other thoughts as I pull up the next thing here?
Yeah, looking at just like faction spread.
Oh, I didn't look at.
like
I
representation.
didn't look at the stats. Yes.
Some of the stats are messed up on Pattern Analyzer because a lot of their lists didn't get
14%
converted over.
of lists didn't convert. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
More lists
so-
didn't convert than Scum. That got converted.
Yep. Mhm, yep.
Wah, wah.
So we did see 12 Resistance, 10 Empire, 8 Rebel, 7 Republic, 5 FO, and 4 of Separatist and Scum. So Separatist not out representing Scum. That's surprising.
I feel like
I
they
think.
randomly switch. Like every event, they'll be like, "Oh, Scum's the least represented. Oh, Separatist least represented." They're both at the bottom.
Yeah, but
Clearly.
clearly, yep. But I think Separatist didn't do well this event. Yeah.
Yeah, everything. The only outlier I'm seeing is that the uptick in 6-ship squads. Average pilot initiative still about a little over 4. Cost is a little over 4 as well. That's all pretty standard. But more and more 6-ship squads coming in, which I had to imagine most of those being the 6-ship Republic that we are starting to see more and more of. Can you go 6-ship with Padme? You'd have to only run 1 arc. Is that the...
It'd be no. You could still do 2 arcs in Padme.
Well, it's
you go
12.
3, 3,
Because
2.
Republic can do 3 4s, 2 3s, and 2.
Right. So you could go 2 arcs Padme. Still interesting.
Yeah, and then just swap out.
Get some V-wings or
do-
whatever and slider.
Yeah, click contrail and slider or something like that. Yeah.
Quick contrast slider. Yeah, there you go.
Sure.
That's not
Or
bad.
the diamond boron torrent.
Sure.
Yeah.
People like him as well. Okay. I mean, it would be nice to throw Padme and a Vader too. What's your kickback?
Would be neat.
That's interesting. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff there. Being able to, I think that's the last one for the year in Europe.
Man, that's a
As
good
far
question.
as qualifiers, I think so. Yeah.
I think so. I don't remember the. I don't remember the other ones.
There's the Sith Taker, but that's not in February, so that doesn't qualify.
Oh yeah, too late. That's actually a great reminder. You got to get your store champs and stuff done before the end of January. If you
Not even like done, reported.
report
Make
it.
sure it's so everyone who's helped run a store champ that's listening right now, if you haven't confirmed that your store or you haven't helped your store fill out the Google survey that AMG has put out to report the winners and the event and all the answers to the questions they have, go do that. Otherwise, you're missing out on finalizing everything that happened at a store champ you may have helped run.
Right. Is all for naught.
Yep.
Unless
So
that gets
if you are someone like me who is helping run a second store champ at the store I frequent and helped run the first time, I'm helping run it on January 20th. So when that's done, I'm like going to immediately fill out that survey because it's the second to last weekend of January.
Yeah, do it before you leave the store.
Basically.
Yeah, don't forget. Yeah.
Oh, awesome stuff. We'll be interested. I know still a lot of buzz. People trying to get to Worlds, which I don't think I had in my notes, but I believe. Let me.
I feel like Adepticon badges and event ticket stuff should be on the horizon. If that's what you're leading into.
No, I was going to talk about ISOFane.
That too.
It's always good to talk about ISO.
Taking that ISO plane.
I don't have the link though. I don't know where my link went.
Hold on. I can find it in another location. There it is. Copy this. Send it to you through our GSP chat. There you go.
Put in our chat. Yes, Xwing.life. I was like, it's such an easy, it's such an easy link.
X-Wing and life. It's easy.
Xwing and life, indeed. Let me see if I can.
I can read what he posted in a
you go ahead.
chat to another
Read it while I
Discord,
get
just
it
kind
pulled
of.
up.
So Daniel Lim, this is the second year he is putting together the ISO plane, called ISO Plane 2. So if people aren't familiar, last year, he had the ISO Plane Initiative, where he wants to help as many people as possible take part in the X-Wing Worlds event. And you go through and you submit sort of like an application to him, telling you about yourself, answer potentially a few questions he has, or basically going through and trying to find some people that he would like to not like sponsor, but help make their way to Worlds to enjoy it and go with all the camaraderie. There are many different people who got that assistance last year. He's a very giving, wonderful person to our community. He says, if you need assistance getting to Worlds, fill out a form. If you have someone that you think deserves a chance to get to Worlds, fill out the form on their behalf. Let's all meet up at Adepticon 2024 and have a blast. It has been 100% proven that recipients of isoplane travel funds are guaranteed to win Worlds, as our current world champion, Nicholas God, was someone who got assistance and as part of the isoplane initiative. He plans on proving again for next Worlds 2024.
100% win rate, dude.
100% win rate. However,
Hey, I'm only coming from Chicago. Will he pay for my gas money? Actually, I drive an electric
you
car.
know what?
Will
I
he
don't
pay my
parking
$2
ticket.
electric,
Did they ever get
my
that
$2 of electricity so I can win worlds?
Did they ever get that plane set up out to Schaumburg from the
What?
airport? Weren't you talking about there was like Cessnas going between the suburbs and downtown? They ever figure that out?
Oh, I stopped paying attention. There probably is something for lazy people.
He did go on, and this might not be this is exactly what we're showing, but I think it's important to mention because this is what he's been passed on to every single Discord. He says, "However, I need help to raise funds to support people from around the world. He's personally set aside a chunk of his own money, but thanks to Louis Leong or Lewis, maybe saying any of those variations wrong, and many others, we have put together an awesome raffle to raise money. Check it out at xwing.life/raffle. There are amazing prizes and even some extremely difficult to find dice included. If we gather enough support, I'll throw in some other things from my own collection here and there as well." He appreciates everyone's support and he loves the X-Wing community. Continue to make our community the best in the world. Wants worlds to be for everyone. So if you have the ability to donate some money to help make more people show up to Worlds to have an even better time with more people, do it. There's, as I said, the fundraiser raffle's there, so you may have a chance to win some awesome prizes yourself. So it's all in the best interest of getting, with the idea of just getting the most people to the X-Wing Worlds event as possible. Daniel Lim is an incredible person, and it's awesome for him to help put this together and start the whole initiative. I don't know how long back this goes, but it's at least a year and a half-ish ago, I believe.
Yeah, when he first started it. Big, what do I say? Uh, Notification here. You have until the 15th of December. Applications will be collected through December 15th. So if you are one of those people, maybe you already had won a local store championship, but not a world qualifier, you still want to come, definitely check it out. Real simple, xwing.life.
To follow up on the world qualifiers that we still have available, there's one in China, PAX Unplugged.
PAX, yes. Mm-hmm.
There's still another one in Germany. I'm not sure exactly which store or town. Singapore. Las Vegas Open, of course, will be there. And it looks like Let's Play Games in Canada. I believe that's what that is.
Oh, nice.
So
that's going up until the end of January.
yeah, that last one in Canada is January 26th. So yeah, cutting it close.
A little close.
Oh, actually, that one is in Australia. I'm sorry. It said CanCon, so I assumed that it was CanadaCon, but it is actually CanberraCon in Canada. It's cutting a little close to start planning travel from Australia if you weren't planning to come before. But
Well, just win and you get it paid.
just win and you get it paid. Yeah, there you go.
That's all I gotta do. Real easy. Just win a tournament. It's just one tournament.
It's just one tournament. Come on. That one's going to be a tough competition. Oof.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, none of them really been easy. No,
That's fair.
All of them pretty tough. Speaking of tough, I think we're going to our last segment then. A question we got on our Discord, !Discord, check it out. And this comes from Kyle the Scout. As a note, our Discord, great place. Give us feedback. Give us topics to talk about lists, rules, events happening in your area. All that can be found on the Discord. What a wonderful place for X-Wing resources. But Kyle the Scout asks for each of us, what isn't happening in X-Wing that you wish was, and what is happening that you wish wasn't? And we're going to start with the... should we start positive or negative? I guess both of these are could go either way. I guess they're not necessarily positive or negative.
I wish I was winning, and I wish I wasn't losing. There you go.
Well, I mean, that's
Perfect. Easy.
pretty easy, yeah.
Marcel, what you got? I saw you. You said you might have one.
Did I?
I don't know. Do you?
I mean, we have to. That's the question, right?
That is
Yeah.
the question. I have
All
one
right,
ready to go if you don't.
All right, so you go. Which way are we going? Which
I'm going to start with what isn't
Is what isn't?
happening. Yeah, what isn't happening. Something you want to see in X-Wing more. And this is mine, that I'm going to say, is something we actually saw last Wednesday, which was a heated one-on-one in-game of X-Wing. They went to I think the game ended on turn 12. But Rexler versus Old T went 4 or 5 rounds in the center of chance engagement, just ducking, dodging, doing the best that they can to try to get a shot while avoiding being shot. Eventually, one of
and
them
also not
didn't
being
work
able to
out.
leave the center.
You also can't leave the center because that was chance. So there was really like a what do I want to say? You know, in those battle
dogfight
royale
of old.
games where the battlefield shrinks down to just this tiny little zone. That's basically what happened. But that one-on-one in game where you're setting dials rapidly, I'm arc dodging you, throw another dial down. Now you're behind me. There might be only a shot every other turn. Man, we just do that is completely absent in X-Wing right now. We almost never see, let alone 1v1, but a 1v1 that both players have a chance of winning.
Yeah, it was pretty spectacular to say the least. I don't think we've seen many games like that recently at all.
What about you then? Any of you, I guess. What isn't happening in X-Wing that you're missing out on, or you think the community is missing out on?
I'll say more frequent point changes, or more frequent. Actually, let me even restate that. Not just more frequent point changes, just more frequent anything. It feels like we've gotten a couple releases. I have not, other than the releases that got announced. I've genuinely have heard zero buzz about anything. I mean, there's the tournaments, there's Worlds coming, XCC, all of that. The XCC especially is because we're personally involved. But I think there's just there's no shakeups, and I know that AMG has said no point changes for the sake of point changes. I would even if it's a couple meaningless ones, just point changes for the sake of being part of the news cycle, being part of the giving people something to talk about. So just whether it's point changes, adding something, removing something from the ban list, just news. And it doesn't have to be shipped releases, because shipped releases, that's a long development cycle. And that's also you have to wait a long time for it to be released and all that. But yeah, I think that's what I wish there was more of. It's just more news from the source and more shakeup.
I like the word shakeup there, because it's not necessarily that points would be better or worse, but just different.
Yeah, and they're not in the bad spot now. I mean, I think Resistance and Republic are starting to rise to the top, but that doesn't mean that by the time Worlds comes around, if nothing changes, like First Order will be,
Right.
it'll be like the top 8 will be off, or like you never know, like it still changes, but just again, more shake up for the sake of being part of the news cycle, for being part of a conversation, just giving a little bit of buzz, giving some, if you change even a few points, it'll drive people back into the stores that were probably like getting a little used to the current situation.
Oh, sounds good. What about James, Ryan?
So something that I see happening in X-Wing that I wish
Something that isn't
wasn't.
happening. No.
Oh, something
go on.
isn't happening. Okay. More people being inventive with lists. I think. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen as we get closer and closer to Worlds, as people start refining their Worlds list. But I think a lot of people get set in a path of find what is good for me online, like just like net listing, or
Yes, your friend group. Hey, I want to fly Separatist, or easier example. Hey, I want to fly Republic. What should I fly? And then one's like,
yeah,
Arcs. If you're not,
Arcs Padme, and one other ship, probably Anakin.
which may or may not be true, but I think I understand what you're saying. They're like, that's not always the answer.
Yeah, and it may not be the answer for every person, right? But I feel like people get stuck in, well, this list is good, the squad is good, so if I just take it and play better than anyone else, then I'll win. But I feel like they are missing a big portion of the game, which is, flying things that are fun to them, and people get stuck on like winning is fun. So what can I do to win?
That makes sense to me. What about you, Ryan? Something that isn't happening that you wish was?
I think more post game analysis, and specifically in the video or streamed variety. There were a couple, and there may be others that have existed in the past that I either A, don't see anymore, haven't seen in a while, or see anyone trying it, or even not even just be broadcasted, right? It's what I would call like film room style stuff, right? Echo Base used to do it on GSP or for GSP at time, or an old Squadron based out of Minnesota. The Crates did it at times in the past, or all they would do is they would take one person from a game. They would take someone who generally knew the outcome of the game, and someone who may not have paid attention to the game and knew the outcome or didn't know the outcome at all. Like just different parties and views to, and not too many, right? It would be about 3 or 4 people at most to go over the game. And whether it was on TTS or Vassal or a live stream from an event, and go through and make, usually to make sure at least one person that played in the game was there to represent their thought process, and some of the other people there to bounce around like, okay, why did you think this way, or did you not think about this, or did you consider that? Everything from the turn 0 decisions of rock placement, deployment, now would also be scenario placements, and then all the way through to as long as they wanted to go. It could be the end of the game, could have been up to the point where they felt like the game was decided at that point, whatever. I think a lot of that in-depth analysis is something we don't get often. Like we might get some battle report, blog type stuff, but a lot of that it's a lot of reading for some people, and X-Wing is it's helped a lot talking about situations in a visual sense. So unless there's a mass amount of pictures, there's even things that it's just better seen on video. So I think I definitely would. I've thought about myself, like if I wanted to do an offshoot, like, hey Dion, what if I streamed, once a month and did the GSP film room or something, right? Like that's come across my mind at some point in the past, but there's been so many other high priority things in my life at this point, and that's been on my mind almost since middle of COVID, just to have more content. But just I think it's stuff that I wish we had more of, but it's also stuff I know that like I would also like. I'm probably someone who I feel would be good in providing that type of thing. Um, so it's like it's a double edged sword. Like I've thought about being willing to like do it, but also I want other people to do it too. I want other viewpoints. I want other people who we may not get to talk to a lot. Like, but like we're the constant talking heads, right? We're the one of the we're podcasting every week live. So getting outside uh, people to discuss their views and their thought process during the game of X-Wing itself, not just overarching how do they feel about the meta or some lists or things like that, but like in the moment, in the game, thought process and breaking down their decision making. It's really good stuff. People who haven't seen that type of thing in the past, message me and I can probably send you some of those film room type videos. I mean, they're so old; they're before any of the scenario stuff ever happened, unless someone else did a video that I'm not aware of before or during scenario play for AMG. I guess what the closest thing we came to was analyzing Marcel's final against Nathan Idy at the Not Worlds Adepticon. We kind of did that a little bit, right?
True. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Oh.
did break down that. We did break that down pretty bad. Yeah, well, not bad, pretty good. Like went into very close detail.
Yeah, and we had Marcel here talk about it, one of the people during the game. I never saw the game, but I was aware of the outcome, right? So, I think those type of things would be good to provide because I think there's a lot of people who can talk a lot about lists, can talk a lot about like how a game went overall. Decision making is like breaking it down and like really seeing its ripple effect on the rest of the entire game is really interesting to me. And
Yeah,
something
you do need that one player or a player in that kind of discussion too, because like everyone could be like, well, the obvious choice was to turn in. Like,
yeah,
well,
you should
why did
definitely
you
have
turn
at least
out?
one of the two players part of the game as in that discussion to understand what may have been going on in their mind in that from that perspective.
Right. That's good. I mean, it's not something that has to be like what do I say? It's not something that has to be like a YouTube series or something. If you just like
No, not
your
at all.
local gaming group, right? Um, if you're able
Yeah,
to catch a video, just rewatch it with your fellow X-wingers, and maybe they could see something that you don't out of your
yeah,
game.
have your own film room, right? And even if like there might be things that the player may come to the conclusion that they were still right in their decisions, even though some other people think that they could like that player could have done something different and they were right. You can agree to disagree. Like we're not trying to change anyone's mind. We're just trying
Right.
to understand the decision making and maybe like by seeing other people's viewpoints, understand that maybe there was an avenue or thinking outside the box that like could have happened that could have led to something else better for said player in the game, or could
Right.
have been worse, right?
There's
Like it could. It's exploring all the options to consider that some I've had so many games, and I've also talked about games with other people where I've either watched their game or they've watched my game, and just conversing with one other person simply, there's always something I didn't think of. Even if I just won the game handily, right? There's always something I didn't think of in that game that the other person saw.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, you bring up a lot of great points, and I want to kind of piggyback off of that for my wasn't. What's happening that you wish wasn't, and the easy in-game analysis of pull-up dice stats, or I blanked out on that one attack and that's what cost me the game. That kind of quick jump to blaming the dice. So we used the dice stats for the simulation games. You can pull them up; they'll tell you about them. But I still think people are weighing too heavily on them. James, if you're +1 and I'm -1, that just means that you got one extra good result and I got one extra, or I missed out on one result I should have gotten. Right? So even if the stats are +5 to to -5, there was really you only missed out on 5 dice results. 5 dice didn't go your way, or the average, we'll say, didn't go the average in the game. But like being able to just like jump on that as being like that's the sole reason you lost the game is just an easy out. Like you're not analyzing movement patterns. How was the first engagement? How was your what I call the scrum, right? You come in for the first engagement, second engagement, and then now you have to like figure out maneuvering around the enemy. And it's I agree with you, Ryan. Like doing those analysis is almost turn by turn, but not quite. But evaluating the game post game is just something that is not being done enough. Because you could just easily write it off like, well, I lost a ship turn 2 and I got a -5 dice stat. So like obviously I can't win this game. It turns out you can win games with negative dice stats. It's not the easiest, but it definitely is possible. So I just would want people to not jump to that conclusion, to maybe look a little bit more in depth about maybe their squad comp, deployment, things like that. Long before dice are even rolled, that you could have gained some advantages in your play.
I mean, you could take a look at like one of the games that I played like last week, I think, where it was a very close game, but I ended up having at the end of the game a -12, and I think he hit like +1 or 2, and that's like a massive swing, but that was like 10 plus results that I was missing that he had that I didn't. But there was like a lot of like big things that I missed during the game. Was like the first engagement, I didn't have Padme. Then I got stuck in a lot of bombs where I ended up taking I think like 4 damage with bombs that I just couldn't could have done something else about.
And about 16 ion tokens.
Yeah, I had a lot of ion tokens.
15 ion tokens, yeah.
Yeah, so I was ionized for a good portion of the game, which cut down on like my even available choices, right? But that -12 definitely didn't help, and that is something that you can look at and be like, okay, well, the dice were definitely not bailing you out, but also you could have put yourself in a better position there.
I like that phrase of like the dice bailing you out, because if you could recognize like I'm in a bad position and like.
Yeah.
And like now I'm getting bad dice too. Like yikes! Like it's compounding. But I have seen
like
a player in terrible position. Normally it's me, but like if they just roll hot, it was like wow, thanks dice. Like got me out of this situation, got me back into the game.
Yeah, well, I was a little worried there, but then I just rolled like hit crit on 4 of my attacks, so I'm okay. Yeah, for sure. And then that kind of goes the opposite way as well, where someone puts themselves in a really great position and just rolls just really poorly. It can only just be like one or two rolls, and it just like it spikes right at the right time or wrong time, and can really set back a game. But try not to focus on the dice swings.
Right. Well, what about you? Is there something that you wish wasn't happening in X-Wing right now?
I think one of the I mean, I think this kind of goes for me and you especially are having a hard time keeping positive about our AMG overlords sometimes. So maybe one of the something is so much negativity. A lot of the times is can really bring down more than just one or two people's vibes about the game, right?
Okay. I hear what you're
Uh,
saying. I think I could translate it. Where someone's like, you play a game, and you're like, man, those arcs are so busted. Why are they even allowed in the game? But like you're talking to someone who chose those ships, right? So they might take that personally. Is that maybe where you're thinking
yeah,
about it?
or yeah, just like kind of what Marcel said. I was like, I could just do with anything. I just want an update. I just need this. Like, if they could just give me an update,
Right.
um, why don't they release new stuff? Why don't they give us articles? Why don't they do this? And I'm just, I would like those things too, but uh, just try to stay positive, not focus on the negative, if that makes sense.
Sure. I mean, there's still a lot of positive things to talk and say and do. I mean, let alone, I mean, world championships coming back, world qualifiers. Like, that was something that after COVID we didn't know would return.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Ryan?
I think I'm on kind of the same wavelength you are. Um, I think we're mostly past this as a community overall, but the overtly negative corner of the X-wing community has been shrinking. Luckily, I think. Um, we used to about a year or two ago when AMG was sort of first putting their stamp on the game of X-wing, had a lot of that. Look, I understand there is such thing as criticism. Totally fine with it. Not a big deal. My problem occurs when it becomes overly um, put in a negative light that causes newer players or players who are currently enjoying the game discomfort online, or just not being happy to interact with the community. Because like there were times when like AMG was like, hey, here's the Battle of Yavin coming out scenario, post on Twitter, post on Facebook, yada yada, social media interaction, comment section, how come you did this to the game? This is terrible, this is the worst, why don't you just change it back to some yada yada, whatever, right? And then there'd be like 15 comments replying to that of just diving terribly into toxicity of some capacity. And luckily I don't see that much anymore. It happens rare now, but I just wish it just wasn't a thing at all. Baseline. Like I said, there are criticisms to be had about AMG. They're not perfect. But if you go out and act a fool in ways that negatively infects the rest of the community, that's where I have a problem. So, um, if you are that negative about the game, I don't know why you're still talking about the game on their social media net platform. Like, why are you commenting on the Twitter or Facebook? I get it. Sure, you're probably passionate about a game that more of your friends played in the past, and you're trying to still play it, and no one around you is playing. Like, sure, I get the frustration, but I mean, there's a level of like moving on, and there's plenty of other games, both board, miniature, card, video game, etc., to enjoy and play with, than to waste your time being angry about something. So, especially if your anger about it negatively infects people who are enjoying it, right? Don't be mad at people's enjoyment. That's my overall point. As I said, luckily, not as common as it used to be. I just wish it just wasn't a thing flat out anymore.
No, and that's a great point when you brought up new players as well. Not great, not a great look. I know they cleaned up like the Reddit and they cleaned up some other discords and stuff, which is like you said, like we don't really see it much anymore. But the a bad first impression, you know. for players who we do want to enjoy the game to come in, have some fun with us. What about you, Marcel? What's happening that you wish wasn't? What do you think?
Well, I'll say the same one you did, but in reverse, which is when you said what's happening that you wish. No, actually, I think it was James that said it. James, you're the one that said that you wish people were having more variety.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
that was
so
for what I wanted to see.
yeah, you want to see that's not happening. Well, I'm gonna do the same thing, but in inverse. I want to go to a tournament and not play against the same four lists. Uh, you know, 3 out of the 5 rounds, or sometimes 4 out of the 5 rounds.
Mhm.
So that's what I want. I want to be able to go to a 5 round tournament and not have 4 of those be one of the same 2 lists. Which actually goes back to my shake it up.
Shake it up.
up.
Shake it up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. I mean, like,
You know,
clearly,
I
like,
think
some
even
lists
if I
are
try to
better.
get like us, even if I try to get us a copyright strike for like singing a tune, I sing it so badly that I think it's impossible for me to get a copyright strike.
It's and now at this point, it's an artistic interpretation of the song, and no
Yeah,
longer a cover.
exactly.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, I definitely understand what you guys are saying. A little bit of shake up, a little bit of variety. Though I think to both your points, being this like late in the competitive season certainly affects that. Everyone's preferring for worlds. A lot of the meta has been quantified, I'll say, where you can look at ships' essential value more so than its squad cost, right? With so
I'd be
much data
perfectly
about.
cool if they did like a huge shakeup like 3 weeks before Worlds.
Oh
I'd be
man.
completely good. Oh, I would love that because then it's not only adding how good do you fly, it's adding like how good do you list build, how good do you conceptualize, how good do you foresee. I mean, at that point, it's like you know, like it tests more of it's not how good do you prep. It's like when you play another game, is like sometimes people can prep very well, but they may not play as well. Like they may not be as creative, but they have more preparation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, I think it exercises different muscles when you have to come up with something uh, more quickly. Although you still have, because even if they shake it up, they're not gonna do like a 180, but just a couple things, a couple tiny things more, a couple tiny things less, is enough to keep some of the things that were good still good, but also open up the door for some creativity.
Interesting. Wonder if they'd ever do like uh like a non-points shakeup. Like all of a sudden, like every list is 21 points now. Like how does that shake up everybody's squads? Or I mean, we've been waiting for new scenarios to like have something to do. Um, so maybe that could be another avenue they could take. Yeah, interesting. I mean, I think we're all waiting for Worlds, and then who knows at that point, right?
Well, beyond the people who are prepping for their qualifiers, like example, PAX Unplugged is this weekend. We have
That's
a
true.
U.S. World Qualifier this weekend in Philadelphia.
That's true. That'll be very exciting. Want to keep an eye out and find out who the winner is. Good luck to anybody traveling out there. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it this year, but hopefully we'll be able to plan better in the future and get out to even more qualifiers in the following years. So I think that's enough for tonight, unless I'm missing something. Any final things I missed from you guys? Doesn't sound like it. So, let's get out of here.
Here.
I'm sorry, what?
Said I'm good here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fantastic. We'll be back on Wednesdays. Me and James stream some online games. And, of course, should be looking for announcements for me streaming the XTC. That's December 9th. Actually, I think it's technically December 8th. It's technically December 8th is when I'll start streaming, but it'll be mostly very early in the morning. December 9th and 10th. 10 teams compete against each other in 9 rounds, excuse me. 9 rounds, 4 on Saturday, sorry, I said it backwards. 4 on Sunday, 5 on Saturday. So join me then. Hopefully, the early morning won't get to me too bad, but should be very exciting. I'll post more information about that in the future. For now, though, stay safe, stay smart. Gold Squadron out.
Thank you to ISO, Danko, Baffle, Trojan, Prophet, Shadow, Tycho, Spice, Raider, Lancer, Fallen, Row 6, 626, Chief, and J List, our Grand Admiral patrons. And all of our Gold Squadron patrons and community members, thank you for your support. Gold Squadron out.